So you're starting off with Batman Hush.
Sure.
Yeah. This actually, well, I didn't even notice, or I guess I didn't really think about it prior to going into this film. But this is actually a continuation. Well, it actually takes place after the events of Reign of the Superman, which we both saw
Right.
and totally enjoyed, right? And I was actually
Yeah. Well,
really,
yeah. So
really glad of
it
that.
follows in that. Yeah, it follows in the continuity of the DC animated universe, which is mostly New 52-esque narrative that they keep following.
Yes, yes, yes.
There's like I think the first of those films was Justice League War. So I think Justice League War, some of the Batman, a lot of the Batman family stuff. Flashpoint I think is one of those as well,
I
and all of
believe
those
so, yeah.
connected. One of those, yeah, all those connected. So yeah, this is the latest of the bunch.
Right. And also it is based off of a comic book story arc, well, of the same
Yeah.
name. I am
Right.
not familiar with that arc at all, so going into
Uh,
this, I
yeah,
wanted to
somewhat
assume
familiar.
that everything that happened, or at least a majority of what happened in this movie, did take
Yeah,
place in the arc.
yeah. They changed one big thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they make one big change, and it was kind of the change that killed the movie for me. But yeah, we'll talk about that.
All right. So Ricardo, you mind filling us in on what Batman Hush is about?
All right, so basically, Batman encountered a new foe. Well, he encountered some strange behavior from his classic foes, like they're doing things that don't really add up and making sense. And then he quickly can surmise that they're being manipulated by a secret person behind the scenes, an individual called Hush.
Yes.
And basically Hush have something on all of these villains somehow. He have some leverage on all of them in some way, shape, or form, and that's basically the plot there. Uh, it's just Hush has now a big agenda against Batman, and he has a big old plan to come after Batman. And that's the story there. It's this really deep cut stuff. It has one of the classic Superman versus Batman fights in this
Yeah.
comic.
Mhm.
And this they do it. I think they do it reasonably well for given the amount of time they had. So they did an okay job with that. And yeah, I was enjoying this movie quite well until a certain point, and then the quality of the film just fell off a cliff, in my opinion. Basically, to put it simple, when they revealed who Hush was, they changed it from the comic and they changed it in a dumb way.
Oh, okay. Because at first, like when it happened, like when they reveal it, I'm like,
Yeah, it was dumb.
all right, huh? Kind
Yeah, it was
of
dumb.
weird, but yeah, kind of weird. But to me, it just didn't really quite fit all that well. And not well, partly
No,
because
the change don't make much sense. Like I get the logic they try to go for, because in the comic it have a logical connection kind of, but it just doesn't work at all for this. Like it doesn't
right,
work at all, complete. Like because everything flowing quite well, but then the change at face value seems as if it's a good change, but when you think about it on paper, when it's time to execute it, it's a really dumb change. And yeah,
yeah,
that
I would agree. I would agree. And the thing is for me though, like when the reveal happens, it's like okay, this is interesting, but then it doesn't really add up to that much. So, you know what I mean? It's like all right, why would this character go out of his way to come out as
yes,
this new persona? Out of
right.
the blue,
No,
basically.
problem exactly because okay, so we probably had to spoil the story itself, like just why does no work. Because again, if you're just judging it for what it is, that's my review. It's good until a point, right?
Right.
That's what my review is. Because if I say what that point is, that'll spoil the story. So spoilers from here on in.
Spoilers.
Spoiler. Right. So as I say, what is the change? All right. So in the comic, Thomas is Hush, right? That surgeon, right? Who's
That makes sense.
right? Thomas is Hush. We know that. Like
Right.
anybody who read the comic from years ago know that, right? Tommy is Hush, and that was a big
Oh,
big
by the
payoff.
way, well, for those who don't know Thomas, that would be Thomas Elliot, who is introduced
Right,
early
Thomas
in the film as a
Yeah.
childhood friend of Bruce Wayne.
Right. Tommy Elliot is Hush, and it have a whole reason why. But in the comic, Riddler is the mastermind of Tommy, right? He's the real mastermind behind everything. But what they decide to do is decide to make Riddler Hush, and then they decide to rip off the same thing from under the Red Hood by having Riddler go through the what do you call it,
The Lazarus Pit.
Lazarus Pit, right?
Sorry.
Lazarus Pit,
Yeah.
and he went crazy, and then he have a whole big backstory for revenge against Batman because of that. And it's like, yeah, this kind of dumb. And
Oh,
here's the problem.
wait. He went crazy because I saw it as he has a new lease on life basically. Because
Yeah,
remember,
yeah, but he just
he had this
all manic and
brain
different.
aneurysm and he was dying. So
Right,
he went to Lazarus Pit. He come back out. It's like, all right,
right.
yes, now I know what I must
No,
do now. I
the
mean,
Lazarus Pit is drive you mad over time. I mean, it is, you just get the range, not like crazy
right.
in the Joker sense, but like you're not too clear now. You're not the same person as before. Just like with Under the Red Hood, right? Same kind of thing.
Yes, yes.
You didn't come out too right. And here's why it was dumb. So the execution is very weak. The lazy rush exposition jump of showing the Lazarus Pit is dumb because they introduced Riddler so late, right? But
Yes. Yeah.
foreshadowed Thomas. They foreshadowed Thomas with no good payoff for misdirection. Because neither does it have a good payoff, nor is there a good misdirection with that. The only misdirection is if you already know that Thomas is Hush and you're expecting that shoe to drop. That is the only person that's fooling, kind of, maybe. But to somebody who don't know this material, you'll see, like, what's the point of Thomas at all? Why even highlight Thomas this time? They just have it where, Thomas get killed by Riddler, and that's supposed to shake up Batman a little bit. But we already see Thomas die before. So what's the point of that? Then what's the worst part is that the entire time Hush cool. Hush have a cool persona, he real cool and everything, and then he just kind of go captainizing on everybody, and all of a sudden he melting down and having a sort of emotional outburst when he actually fighting Batman, and Batman shit talking him. And like you could tell they rip off things from other shows that make more sense in other shows, because that whole part of Batman trash talking him come across as the exact same when Terry McGinnis was bad talking Joker in Return of the Joker. And then the problem is that I was expecting more payoff with all the emotional vulnerability they set up, because all this stuff with him and Catwoman was set up, so I thought they would have do something with Catwoman. They didn't really pay off that either. It's like, well, she almost dead. That's it. And then he loses cool. So it just didn't have a payoff. The movie was fine until, and they just like, they don't know how to write an ending, how to pay this off in a short format, and they just kind of fucked that up. It's very similar to the comic. A lot of people actually hate the comic because it's a great comic that kind of sucked at the end. And I agree, Hush is a villain that doesn't pay off very, very well, but that is a debate. It's not a final debate. I'm in the camp that doesn't really like Hush all that much as a villain, given what we learn about him ultimately. But when he started off, he was great. Like all the shit he put Batman through was great. Mm-hmm. Then they fucked that up. And the movie is the same thing. It falls into that same trap. They didn't improve on it in any interesting way. The changes they make were bad changes, if not worse changes. And it's a shame because they had a chance to fix something that was almost good. And they kind of just mess it up. Right. Yeah, that's just me on that. It had nothing else to talk about.
I see. So just touching on what you said about, the taking inspiration from other shows. One show in particular I was noticing a lot of was The Dark Knight. Especially one scene involving Batman, going into this room and he's seeing like all these like mannequins and whatnot. Like if you listen close to the music, I was hearing like Hans Zimmer, basically the score, the kind of tense score from The Dark Knight. Also the way how Hush is moving at the very, like in the first half of the film, basically, being this character who just kind of manipulating people, being behind the scenes, kind of just watching, like that. Like it had it had a Dark Knight feel and tone to that. Also, but this my main issue with the movie itself, and because I going into this thing completely blind, I never read the comics, so I don't know if what they show in here actually happened. And at first I didn't mind it, right? But this is the relationship between Batman and Catwoman. That was fine. But personally, I felt that a majority of the show centered on the two of them, and there were numerous moments where it's like, wait, so the name of the show is Batman Hush. Where's Hush? Is this Batman and Catwoman? What's going on here, right? I didn't mind it, they developed the relationship and all that, and that was fine. But I just felt that it just took up too much time, compared to what was going on. There was even a moment, like swear to God, where they decided they're going to be a couple, right?
No, all of that was fine.
Well, one second. They show this montage, which looks so ridiculous, of them fighting other villains and whatnot. And then you have this random scene out of the blue with them having breakfast. Like, oh, let's read the paper. It's like, oh, Hush is on the move. You know what I mean? So like, what? No. You all forget about Hush? What's going on?
No, all of that's fine. All of that's fine. I didn't have a big problem with all of that. Like them they get together. All that emotion was built up quite well, in my opinion. Right. It's still reminiscent of something I was thinking that they could have done for another Batman project back in the past, and they didn't do it, and the movie was worse for it ultimately. But to me, all of that was okay. At least in the pacing of the story, because it's still very very short. How long is it? Like 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's about roughly 90 minutes.
Right, exactly. So I given what they had to do and the amount of time they had to work with, all of that was fine by my opinion. I didn't have an issue with that. But
okay.
so
I
didn't
just
have
felt it just kind of took away from what was set up in the trailer. Like, okay, we're going against
Right.
this guy who manipulated
Exactly.
all these big villains, but we have
Right.
to stop to
What
show
I thought-
the relationship between these two.
right.
True, more
So
of it. Right.
here's the thing. When you do something like that, you have to pay it off, and I mentioned that earlier. All the
Right.
emotional
That's why I let it slide. I was like, okay, at the very
Yeah.
end, it's gonna pay
Right.
off. It's gonna be something really
right.
impactful, and
Because the
not
thing is,
really.
they started off with that in the story where Poison Ivy was controlling Catwoman. I thought that was going to have some kind of payoff later down. Where, oh shit, Catwoman is a Manchurian candidate, and that's how you get close to Batman. And then that would have paid off in some interesting way. Right? But no, they didn't do it. He freed her earlier with the Poison Ivy stuff, with the Superman stuff, and that was it. And it's like, oh well, they didn't have a payoff later. I thought they would have, oh, she's still in charge of her after all that time. And they pace off a lot of stuff badly with Poison Ivy with Catwoman. Because like Catwoman tried to trick Poison Ivy by being part of still being under her control, but still don't work. And it just rushed out in a bad way. Again,
Yeah,
all of that would have been fine if it didn't fuck up the Hush reveal. They kind of fuck up the Hush reveal a little bit.
Right. I would say just just in terms of the film as a whole, because I was hearing stuff like I wasn't sure if I had my notes correct. Right. Basically, they were saying issues with the animation, issues with the story and whatnot. People just had issues with it. Fine. Animation wise, it's fine. You know what I mean? And the movie as a whole, it's fine. You know what I mean? It's not great.
I didn't notice.
Not memorable, but it's fine for me.
Yeah. No, I didn't notice. I didn't notice like anything particularly egregious. It was like if somebody sees something, then fine. I don't notice. Like I not eagle eye for that. So if I notice something, that means you have to be really fucking up now. Like Bat Family, some of the Bat Family movies, you really see some big errors now.
Well, of course, like Bad Blood.
Yeah.
One infamous example. Yeah.
The blood thing.
Yes. Oh gosh, I forget what happened there, but I remember. Yeah. I think it was some with the blood. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's bad editing. Yeah, but this movie,
editing was kind of suspect. But yeah, but this one was fine, man. It's just once again me going in blind. I thought the movie was going to be centered on Hush, and I find it wasn't really so much about him, but it was more centered on the relationship between Bruce and
hate. Yeah, I absolutely hate when they have a villain being cool the entire time, and then he melt down in the ending. It's a complete meltdown.
It's true. Yeah, he just flips out all of a sudden.
Yeah, complete meltdown. Like, okay, again, they try to rip off. To me, that entire scene come across like Return of the Joker. Now, in Return of the Joker, it make perfect sense, like how that would play itself out, because it played itself out, in a logical manner of Joker losing the school in that way now, right? Because one is Joker, two, is Joker really get catch in a scenario that he didn't expect now, because it's Terry McGinnis. Terry McGinnis is not Bruce Wayne, right? This was done. All of a sudden, Bruce making jokes and Bruce trying to be jokey, and he insulting Riddler intelligence about the riddles, and then it was real stupid. Whatever.
Yeah.
Rating, I ain't sure. Like about a 6 out of 10. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either.
It's I'm in the same camp as you. Like I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. Right?
Not the worst, but definitely the best.
Yeah. I would say just just repeating the positives. Animation is fine. Voice acting is fine. The usual talent.
I wasn't feeling that Batman. I forget the actor named Jason
O'Mara.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling the Jason O'Mara first. Like, look, I will admit I'm a Conroy stan a little bit, but it have other people who did a good job that's not Conroy, and O'Mara didn't really bring the energy. He didn't bring the voice wasn't working. Voice acting wasn't too hot for me, and then it's not the worst thing ever, but it was just so forgettable and standard, and I really wasn't. You remind me of the Batman's voice actor. I don't know if that's the same voice actor.
I remember that Batman, but I don't remember the guys. Yeah. I don't remember the voice actor who played the Batman, to be honest. So that's
I remember that. Okay, it was weak.
Yeah. Oh yes, another thing that but I realize this is just an issue with these DC films, because you're taking like an arc, right, or a graphic novel, so it's like a series of books. It always have these kind of moments, this kind of start, end, but they don't really come together as a wholeness. So You know, you have Poison Ivy come and go, Superman
Right,
come and go, Joker
right,
come and go. You know what
right.
I mean?
Because
So
that
it's just
clearly,
like that.
yeah, they're clearly referencing, because they're clearly doing it like the comic now. That's the problem. Because the comic
Yeah.
was episodic and it had that problem. Again, this is no this, and it's not as bad as say All Star Superman or anything like that, which is a movie I
Oh,
really didn't care for.
yeah, but
Um,
All Star Superman was like
didn't work at all. Like All Star
y'all take
Superman,
12 issues. I believe it's 12 issues, and try to
yeah,
compress it into what, like 75 minutes? Come on, man, really?
yeah. No, but Hush was a good run too. Hush was a good one. They did a much better job with this. While All Star Superman didn't work at all. I thought that didn't flow at all, in my opinion. As compared to this now. This was fine, you know. It was going fine until the reveal. It just had no payoff to anything they built up. Almost nothing, and not
Yeah.
very little of it. I think the problem was bringing in Riddler that late, and it's like, what? That's the reason. Yeah, as I said, 6 out of 10. Next.
All right.
Um,
Well, rating wise for me, sorry. This gets a strong 3 out of 5. It's all right.
right.
It's all right. If you've been enjoying these DC animated films, you'll enjoy it. If you just want to see, you know, an edgy take on a fairly popular Batman arc, then you'll enjoy it. You know what I mean? If you just like those kind of things, it's cool. But go in with expectations low, and you'll enjoy it for the most part. But if you go in expectations high, you might come out of it like, yeah, I just wanted more out of it. You know what I mean? So it is
Right.
worth it. Didn't love it, didn't hate it.
Yeah. Well, at least they're finally bringing out Red Sun. They're making that, so I hyped for that. So I
Right,
waited for that.
right.
I hope they fuck that up. So they have a couple other movies. The one movie I'd like to see them really pull off is something like DC 1 Million or something. They could finally
Oh,
do that. You know,
yeah.
shit like that. Good story. However.
It is. It is. It's just adaptation. You know, like translation from the page to the screen is something that they just have to figure out.
It's
You know what I
it's
mean?
like the wrong people for this shit, Joe. Like, look, I like Sam Liu, and he's like good. I think when he's good, he's real good. But I don't think you need to direct all of these, though. Like,
Yeah. Well,
you
he
want,
didn't direct this one. They got
okay,
this
what do you
guy
got for this?
Justin Copeland. First time I heard
Okay,
about
okay.
him
Sam Liu
to
didn't do
direct
this.
this.
Okay. I kind of
Yeah,
turned it off.
Sam Liu. Well, I don't know if he was involved behind the scenes. Well, probably he was, but he didn't
But
direct this one because yeah, clearly he
okay,
can't do all of them.
okay,
Uh,
okay. Oh, well. They still fucked this up. So,
yeah. All right. So moving on now, just sticking with comic books for a bit. Now we'll talk about a show called The Boys. This came out, you know, last month. The times recording late July, and you know, just ahead of the premiere, it got renewed for a second season, which is, you know, amazing. Um, it came out through Amazon, and well, it's 8 episodes basically, and essentially what this is, and I don't want to say this is like a personal gripe for me though, is that genre wise, it's kind of hard to really sum up what this show is in one or two genres. So it's a superhero series, but it's a drama, but it's also like a crime drama. It's also a thriller, also a sci-fi. Has your kind of gory grindhouse moments, have little elements of horror here or there. But I kind of just treat it as okay, this is what the show is trying to be. You know what I mean? It's not like it having some kind of identity crisis though. But I know for some people going into this, they will be kind of like some of them will kind of wrap around their head like, okay, like I don't know if I'm supposed. Oh yes, I know. Dark comedy actually. A lot of dark comedy in this, right? So it's kind of like I know some people go in and be like, I don't know if I'm supposed to laugh here, or if I'm supposed to cringe here, or supposed to be worried here. You know what I mean? Because yeah, genre and tone tend. Well, I wouldn't say tone that much because it does maintain a certain dark sort of satiric tone. But yeah, genre-wise, it just kind of bounces back and forth. So I know for some people that might be too much, but I kind of let it slide because yeah, the boys is trying to be its own thing, right? And I'll jump into what the premise is about, right? So similar to Watchmen, 'cause, yeah, this is like the perfect, you know, show to reference, right? This is set in an alternate, you know, universe basically, right? And
yeah,
here, superpowered beings are a reality, and in this reality here, this alternate universe, they are pretty much celebrities, right? So
right.
literally every state in the United States has a hero. It's this big corporation that pretty much like advertising and marketing them. So similar to the WWE. So yeah, that's another, you know, big
Yeah.
corporation that this
It's
show
basically,
references a
yeah,
lot.
to put it in simplest terms, it's basically the crime syndicate meets mystery men. If you remember what Mystery Men is.
yes, Mystery Man. I forgot about that show, Jared.
Old Ben Stiller movie that was kind of dumb, and yeah, is that.
Yeah, right.
Uh, the
Yeah,
whole
so
because the big sell of this is there's a lot of anti-capitalism stuff in this, a lot of anti-celebrity culture in it, and then it has a very well. It came out in 2006, so it makes sense. There's a lot of Bush era politics in this, right?
yes,
Um,
yes,
Evangelical Christianity, that whole shindig. Now, it's
yeah.
unclear to me if 9/11 happened in this universe. Right?
That's a
That's
good
unclear.
question, though. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The big sell of the story was the whole war on terror thing. Now,
Yes, and they do
and
incorporate bits of that into this show here.
exactly. So that is why I was thinking, what are you gonna do with it in that sense? Now it was like, oh, it was unclear to me because I didn't really spend too much time like learning about the world building. This was for the first time in a while I've actually binged this out too. 'Cause I never read the comic. I was always heard about the comic. People say the comic not that good. But they say this is like, but this is fantastic for me. I didn't expect to enjoy it more than Doom Patrol.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is, I would say, right up there with Doom Patrol in terms of just
Yeah.
taking the superhero genre and just doing something.
Yeah.
I don't want to say unique, but really something special,
No,
something
it's
great
not
with it.
new. Yeah, it's not new of doing the whole crime syndicate stuff. Because yeah, again, these guys are straight up crime syndicate. But it was still a good take on it, and they carried the logic of it in some good spaces of how this would play out, how you're killing off these characters, how to fight them, how to beat them in this way or that or the other. The Superman aggregate character was pretty good. He's actually the best
Yes,
character
yes,
by
yes.
far. Yeah,
He is. But just want to wrap up the synopsis here quick, right, before we get to the review. Right. So this corporation that pretty much running these heroes is called the Vought, is called Vought International, right? And like I say, they're marketing these heroes. They basically have their own brands and whatnot, right? So we introduce the character of Hugh Campbell. He is one of the members of the Boys, right? So I'll get into what the Boys is, right? He's played by Jack Quaid, right? And he starts off working at this it's basically one of those, I want to say like a electronics store, but more like repairs and whatnot.
Well, that specializes in surveillance store, mostly surveillance and security.
Yes. Okay. And he's introduced having a girlfriend. Her name is Robin. And then something happens to Robin. I don't want to say what it is, but when it happens, it's like, oh shit, that actually happened. Wow. And it involves, all we see is that it involves one of the heroes, well, they call the Seven, that's pretty much being marketed by Vought International. And this guy is called A-Train. He's played by John Shaft Jr. himself, Jesse T. Usher. Yeah, and basically he is the universe's equivalent of the Flash. So he's quote unquote the fastest man alive, even though they had a subplot which I wish they could explore a bit more, where he was going up against another person who claimed that he was the fastest man. You know what I mean? I forgot his name. I think it was Shockwave or something like that. No, maybe not Shockwave, but it started with an S basically, right? But that's just one subplot that I wish they developed more. Right, and the other character that kind of gets into this big story, her name is Annie January. She is Starlight, right? This is her alias, and basically her superpower is that she emits this really bright, powerful light from her hands. It's like lasers coming out of her hands.
It's a mixture of So basically, she has some super strength, some athleticism, and then her. She have kind of force beams effectively. So it's bright light, but it also could push you. Could also push you across and move you about and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, basically, right. She is the newest member of the Seven. So the Seven basically is the main selection of heroes that are being promoted and whatnot, right? And she's they kind of set up as being like really, conservative. You know what I mean? She always does the right thing. She's all about truth, justice in the American way. But as these characters realize, well, her and Hugh in particular, they realize that the Seven and that that's what's trustworthy and that heroic as the
again, it's a whole play on neoconservatism now. So it's the play on we're all righteous and holier than thou, and then we're really shitty and we make all these really shitty decisions and utilitarian decisions and Canada don't give a fuck and we have a certain mental that not accounted for. Even though we're super strong, super dangerous. Yeah, it's pretty much like America, an analogy for America, effectively.
Yeah,
It on the nose. It pretty on the
it
nose
is
about,
very on the nose, very, very,
right.
very on the nose, right?
But still very well done.
It is, right. So, the one, perpetrator of all this, the one ringleader, I would say, is the leader of the seven. His name is Homelander, and
Yeah,
yes, I do agree he is the best character in this. He's just a character that you just love to hate because, yes, he
right.
is the Captain America. He's the flag. Well, in this case, he has the American flag on his
Okay.
cape, basically, right? So,
Yeah,
and on the one hand is like, yeah, everybody loves home leader, he's for America. And then when when the lights go off, when the cameras stop rolling, he's just this
yeah.
egotistical asshole,
No,
but
it's
he's
just a dick. Yeah,
arrogant, he's violent, and there's this little creepy sort of mother fixation that he has with
right.
the vice president of Fort International. Her name is Madeline.
Yeah,
She's played by Elizabeth Shue. Haven't seen her in anything in a long while, but yeah, this kind of weird relationship thing going on with the two of them, right? And which they develop, and the payoff is great in my opinion. Couple of the characters I want to mention too. We have Queen Maeve. She is the
right.
Wonder Woman equivalent in this
Right.
universe here, but
Yeah,
she's the one who has this sort of like conscious, this moral issues going on because she's seeing,
right.
she's seeing Homelander doing all these really messed up things, and she's kind of
Yeah, but
questioning herself.
she kind of
That's
crossed
it.
the line. She crossed the line a long time ago, but she keep crossing line further and further and getting harder and harder to justify her existence. But she can't fight against Homelander. So
Right, exactly. We have one character which I wish he developed more. This is Black Noir. So
yeah, you gotta
all
see
right.
any of
So I
him.
try to
Sounds
remember
like me.
the character name from. All right. So who is the Black Ninja from GI Joe, the movies, the anime, not the animated,
Snake.
Snake Eyes. Yeah, he has this kind
Yeah,
of Snake Eyes sort of like
yeah.
the
He's a
body
Snake
armor,
Eyes man
and
character.
just yeah,
Uh,
just like Snake Eyes, he's silent. He don't say anything, but he's the kind of person who will just act first and I guess ask questions later. But
right.
because he was like hardly in the show, like I don't think I wasn't expecting that they to give him some backstory, but at least give him a little bit more to do. He's just kind of there,
Right.
and in one scene he goes up against a particular character, right? I'm not gonna say who. Just a few more characters. Now I want to get into the boys, right, before we get to the review. So basically, the leader of the boys is Billy Butcher, right? His who's
Yeah.
played by Carl Urban. I didn't even know he was in this, right? So forgive
Yeah.
me, I
Yeah.
didn't watch any trailer going into this. I was like, oh shit, Carl Urban in this. Wow,
Yeah.
okay, right? And basically he's human, right? And he doesn't trust anybody with superpowers at all, right? And then later on in the season, you understand why, and it makes perfect sense, right? But yeah, he is crass, he is vulgar, he cusses a lot. I would say he more or less rivals Ian McShane from Deadwood in terms of a
Right.
character who would say the most fucks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In a episode in an episode of this season. This man, like almost every line that he delivers, it always drops an F bomb though. But it works for his character because he just so you know what I mean? He just does not care anymore. You know what I mean? And it has to do with the disappearance, I would say, of his wife.
Right.
And that just made him into this cold human being, basically. So yeah, he just doesn't care. He just wants to wipe out. He wants to wipe out the seven. He wants to get rid of them, right? So one thing leads to the next, and Billy runs into Hugh basically, and Hugh explains what happened with his girlfriend and
Right.
whatnot. So Billy kind of gets Hugh involved in this sort of like this scheme basically to take down the seven. Also joining them we have Marvin, who's played by Laz Alonso. Didn't know he was going to be in the show here too. His
Right.
alias is a kind of weird alias. It's called Mother's Milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the black guy in the group, right? So basically, he's the one who tries to keep things under control, but what I mean. But he has, he does what he have to do basically to get the job done. Another guy who's involved is called Frenchie. He is he's skilled in like guns and just infiltration and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a skill set. And also too, before I forget, another member of the seven that we forgot was the Aquaman equivalent. He's called the Deep, right?
Right.
Which is like
Well, he
the
had a
dumbest
kind of
name ever.
side. Yeah, he had a side role, but he also was the impetus for a big part of the story as well.
Yeah, what I would say though is that it involves Starlight, right? That's all we'll
Yeah.
see. And last, I just want to say, just before we go into to the review here, we also have another superpowered character who is introduced midway into the season here. This Japanese girl, she doesn't really say anything that much, but I would
She's
say she's
Japanese?
like the actress
No,
is Japanese if I'm not mistaken.
the actress is Japanese.
Yeah, and her name. Well,
She,
sorry. Her name is Kimiko, and
right,
I know Kimiko being a Japanese name. And also, before I forget, she played Katana in that Suicide Squad movie that everybody
right,
really care
yeah,
about. I know when I
yeah,
saw the face, like, wait, I know her, and I was like, all right, yeah, right,
right,
yeah. So she's actually not Japanese, which is weird, but they didn't really specify which country it was.
right.
She was
Yeah,
in though.
exactly.
That's the thing. Yeah. Understand the confusion too because there's this thing where the seven kind of make her out. They assume she's a terrorist, but they have this thing going on with
Right,
like some Syrian terrorists going on, some terrorist cell
right,
going on, some subplot there.
right. No,
But yeah,
okay, so what it was, well, there's a kind of spoiler in the plot, but what they were doing, you find out it's not as straightforward or as obvious as it sells because they hype the idea that all of the supers are natural born, quote unquote.
yes,
A story. And then you learn to have a big plot going on behind the scenes that's making that not to be true.
exactly.
So I
And it
nothing
does
there's nothing
involve and it kind of, I would say it exactly involves, but it kind of involves Kimiko and her place in the
right,
story. All I was gonna
right,
say is that basically she's the X-23 in this universe. She's
right,
very aggressive. She heals quickly. She has like
right,
these like well, I don't say she has claws, but basically she uses her fingers in this sort of like primal
right.
animalistic
Well,
way. So that
yeah,
yeah, she could just rip you apart basically, and she will not hesitate, right? So yeah, so basically the boys have to kind of keep her in check while they're going through this elaborate plan to take down the seven. Of course, Starlight going through her thing, Hugh going through his thing, and it gets even more interesting and eventually worse when they do meet up and eventually hook up. And that's all I have to say about
right.
the boys. So Ricardo, what did you take away from the boys? What you thought about this
Yeah,
season one
yeah,
here, the boys?
from start to finish, I really enjoyed this. I thought this was great. It was tight. It felt like it had no fat at all. Very little of it felt slow or arbitrary. There's only one little side story that I had a couple issues with. But even that served a purpose, kind of. Yeah, they actually nailed everything they needed to nail. It's very Bush era politics. That's what it is. It's because it's 2006. That makes sense. It's a critique of evangelical Christianity and a critique of war on terror type neoconservatism. And Homelander, in my opinion, is probably one of the best, if not the best, manifestation of a pathological Superman. And yeah, they just cover all the bases in terms of like what they should do with this material, and they did a great job of that from start to finish. They dealt with everybody power set, like how you could beat them and why. So like the first guy was this cloaking guy, but you understand how he could be beaten because his skin is made of, and as a whole thing. They just kind of think out the logic and the science in the world because and then you learn how you kind of learn why and how all of this happened. And yeah, I thoroughly love this.
All right. Well, that character that you mentioned too was another member of the Seven, which I forgot. His name is Translucent, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
basically he's the invisible guy, Mister.
yeah,
No, sorry, the Invisible Woman, but in this case he's the Invisible Man in this universe here, right? And
yeah,
how they brought him into the story and what they do with him was excellent in my opinion. It's so subversive, and that's one thing
yeah,
that I really really dug about this show here. How subversive it all is. But
yeah,
as I said before, I mean, it's in like stuff like this isn't original, right? Like you've had Watchmen, you've had Kick-Ass in 2010, what I mean,
yeah,
you even had Doom Patrol in 2019, stuff
right,
where you take, the idea of the superhero and you don't just modernize it, but you just flip it on its heels and just really show you
yeah,
the dark side of it, right? And this
yeah,
show is like just centered in on that, just really
right.
the dark side, like just the underbelly of what it means to be a superhero, and that really made this series as a whole. Well, sorry, I would
Yeah,
say the season so engaging.
right. It's expertly used, in my opinion, as good commentary. That's the purpose of all of it.
Of course,
Just
yeah.
commentary, but not some of it in your face, but all of it quite subtle in terms of just power. Homelander's characters is done very, very well. Have this really brutal sequence in a plane that I love.
Yeah,
Uh,
boy. And
and
it's
what I liked about that,
what I would say though, it is so dark, right? That moment, you know, like
yeah,
in today's TV shows when you have some dark event happen in the episode, right? And you know they end the episode with no music, you just hear
yeah,
silence. In this case, you just hear water, you just hear the ocean. That's all you see,
yeah.
and it works
No,
so well, but because just
but
thinking about what happened involving him and that plane
yeah,
is like, job, boy.
no, yeah. What I liked about the sequence is the fact that he kind of just run through the. He was so cynical about it because his attitude was, even if I could save them, I can't, because he does run through all the options. Like, yeah, that's not how my powers work. He made fun, and he's making fun of the Superman paradigm of, well, something as small as Superman wouldn't really be able to move around a plane or something like that. Because remember, Superman's powers is more magic, transferring his momentum to objects kind of thing, rather than an actual object that size being able to move at those speeds. Like little stuff like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, so he would have just punched through the plane and make it worse. Like it was an accident, we can't save all here. And he made all these jokes. I did the heroes like, well, we could have tried this and that. And like, nah, it won't work. And I love that. That little stuff like that. At the same time, he's really dismissive and cynical about the whole thing. Because like, yeah, he not losing anything, and he's like, yeah, them people just got it dead. He didn't rescue nobody. And the idea is that, well, at the end of the day, reputation matter more than anything. And that was great. And he ended up using the event, because the event was started off as a thing they wanted to get into the war on terror and justify themselves as weapons to the government. And then they play it out as, oh, they end up using the event as a thing to get themselves as weapons to the government because terrorists win. But terrorists got succeeded in the attack. Great. Love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
That's
It was a powerful moment, and it was just so well designed, well,
yeah.
executed, I would say, right?
Yes.
But yeah, that was just one of many great scenes in this. Another
Yeah.
thing that and okay, so I'll just jump into hype for a minute, right? So the moment I started hearing, oh, this show is great at episode one, yo, this real great, blah 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 blah. At first I was thinking, this is from episode one, right? That this is gonna be just dark comedy. This is gonna be like kick ass all over again.
Right,
being tongue in cheek, but it's all about humor, right? But what I really appreciate about this show here is that it isn't afraid to get serious. Not too serious, of course, right? But there are a lot of serious moments in this, and those serious moments work for the most part. They really do get you into the story. They really do get you invested. You know what I mean? They really do make you care about the characters. They're like, this is funny because it's a satire, and this kind of thing.
Right.
Like, it is a satire, right? But when it goes deep in, when it gets dramatic, when it gets powerful, it's not afraid to do that. And that's what I meant at the very beginning, there's the shift of genre. Because, yeah, you could go into this and think, oh, this is going to be some kind of sleazy gore fest. Like, you do get some, copious amounts of gore in some scenes. You do get some, over the top, hard R, sleaziness. You need some sex scenes and some sexual content in there. But it's not done in a way to be like, it doesn't like distract from the overall story and the point of it, right? It's not like, oh, well, we're just going to be, this whole sleaze fest throughout. No, yeah, it's telling a story, serious when it needs to be, comic when it needs to as well, but overall in this sort of dark satiric tone where it just always kind of keeps you, off balance now,
It does make some jokes about it does make some lowbrow jokes. It works, but the lowbrow humor works for the content of the material. They balance it quite well, in my opinion. Some of the jokes, like that opening joke with the Aquaman figure, the deep, that's a good joke because it fit within what's going on now. Even though
there's also a quick sex scene, Jed, where I was like, okay, this is like on some Pornhub kind of shit, but the payoff of it though was had my jaw my jaw dropped, Jed. Like, they don't actually show where this had happened, but you just hear a sound. That's all I'll say. Hear a sound effect, and like, oh shit, that actually happened, right? But yeah, continue.
Yeah, no. So the lowbrow humor is there, but it's not like a big problem in my opinion. They balance it quite well in my opinion. For what it was.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if the hype was just like, oh, we getting this like real hardcore, edgy, F-bombs, galore superhero film, and I love this, you know what I mean? But so I I would say just in general, don't go in expecting that's all the show is going to be about. There's a lot of things going on here, and yes, within this 8 episode run, they cover quite a lot, and they do it. They actually like I say, there's no fat that need to be trimmed out or whatnot. Everything that happens needs feels as if it needs to be there, in my opinion. I would say that of sometimes, not all the times, there is a little pacing issue here or there. But once again, just going to genre. Okay, there's some like some episodes or some moments where you think, all right, I wish there was like a little action scene here, or how long I had to wait for the action. You know what I mean? Not saying that the series has to be full of action scenes, right? But yeah, there are some moments where it could be dramatic for a long period of time. It could be tense for a long period of time. And just kind of wondering, okay, when are we gonna get the next big over the top scene and whatnot? But um, the show itself takes its time, right? So I have to give credit where credit is due. It's just that once again, genre wise, it's kind of hard to put this show into one or two genres because it just kind of shifts ever so often between genres, right? Um, the acting I thought was stellar throughout.
Yeah,
Um,
everyone. Yeah,
everybody, Carl Urban, he was believable
yeah.
as Billy Butcher, just this nihilistic bastard. You know what I mean? Like once again, it's a character you don't really you don't hate him. You know what I mean? Even though he curses a lot and just acts like an asshole, but at the same time, you
Yeah.
kind of pity him when you delve deep into his backstory. It is really tragic when you think about it, right? Um, Hugh, you know what I mean? He
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was good.
comes off as a straight man as such. Jack Wade, he plays Hugh, sorry. He kind of comes off as a straight man, but there's something else going on with him. Uh, I did like the moments with him and his dad, who was played by Simon Pegg. I didn't expect to see
Yeah,
him in this. And I'm glad that the show didn't always have to stop to have the dad, because the dad basically is always concerned about Hugh's well-being, right? So you don't have all these moments where his dad call up and ask him, Hugh, what are you doing, blah blah blah, right? But it's the moments with him I thought work. Just him having to deal with the situation, what he's in, you know, him just not understanding a lot and just learning, just seeing things unfold, and just his perception of superheroes now being changed because of all these events that taking place. I thought that Erin Moriarty, she plays Starlight. I thought that she was great. I mean, for one thing, she had to look down, you know what I mean? But also, you do believe, you do buy into her story, what's going on with her, the struggles she went through, just basically her going into this thing and expecting to be, you know, being this superhero, and then just having that rug just pulled underneath her and just see the ugliness underneath. You know what I mean? I thought that was great. One episode in particular involved her at this evangelist crusade. I thought that was great as
right.
well. Basically, where she
Yeah, yeah,
kind of, yeah, I thought that was great. Her kind of, not so much doubting her faith in God, but just the mere fact that these heroes, especially Homelander, is involved in this too. You know what I mean? That this is right after said episode of the when he played there. So here's this guy talking about, yes, come and be baptized, but look at what happened the episode before, right? So I really love that episode in particular. Speaking of Homelander, yes, he is the best character in this. What I like about him the most is that, yes, you love to hate him, but is the show will always give you moments where you kind of understand why he's this way, and
right. No, they
really,
give
really,
they
really
give
deep into his backstory, his history.
they give a good job of sympathizing. Well, yeah, not well empathizing. I don't know
Yeah,
sympathize.
empathizer, but then the
Right.
man
Right.
kind of
No, yeah, you understand the pathology. So you say, oh
exactly.
shit, that's why he's the way he is, and that's why. Okay, that makes sense. And it's not like a complete, what do you call it? Got the word slipping me. Redemption. It's not like some redemption in the character or anything like that, but it's just a really good job of, oh, you understand why this dude is the way he is. Um,
Exactly. And don't
and
get me wrong, any man is do some horrible things though. Some
yeah,
really horrible, well, not really
he's
horrible
one shot.
things, but some horrible, yeah, some really dark shit. But
Yeah,
there's a logic to it. You understand why he does it. There's always a reason to it, and that to me
yeah,
is makes for great character development. And
yeah,
this to me is
it's
the
good.
strength of the whole of the show in general. Character
Yeah,
development. They go out of the way to really fully flesh out these characters. So they're more like, so it's more than, oh, they're superheroes, but they're bad. Like that's surface level stuff. There's layers to these characters. That's what I love about the show.
yeah.
Right.
They absolutely nailed him in particular. I find that's like probably one of the best character arcs by far.
Yeah.
And then what they do with him in the end is so good and so clever.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Caught
yeah,
me
I
completely
really
by
enjoyed.
surprise, and I know a lot of people will be caught completely by surprise when you see what happens there. But I thought
Yeah,
that was just a stroke of genius. Like
Yeah.
We're gonna have a season 2, right? We can't just get rid of
Right.
we best character just like that.
So,
Nuh-uh.
so
Yeah, we're gonna do.
yeah, a couple of people I know had some issues with him. Have it be a little too much of a cliffhanger. But I thought it was what kind of cliffhanger it was. I thought was really really well done. I don't have a problem with this at all.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, I think the issue is just some people probably would have wanted closure because you don't really get closure
no,
at the finale. This kind of
no, yeah,
stops at this point. So yeah, you
exactly.
kind of have to look
What
out
it,
for the
with
next
it,
season. To see what happens next.
exactly, it's kind of cliffhanger. That's what I don't have a big problem with. Because that kind of cliffhanger, it's like okay, right, this could follow up really really well, and I really want to see what happens next. It
Yeah,
didn't feel easy or some just some of these is just be some lame insert of extra character, so therefore you have to think about this. And I was like, yeah, I don't have to. Like,
right.
it's
Like a CW TV show, for example.
right, that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just really well done. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love what they did with Queen Maeve. You know what I mean? What I'll say though, it's like it's taking the idea of what Wonder Woman represents and kind of flipping it slightly on the seals. Basically, that's all I'll say.
Right.
But I love what they did there. Also, I didn't expect that they would have fleshed out E3 a lot. Because at first it comes off as this kind of arrogant, prick and whatnot. But when you understand why he tends to overreact a lot. And when they kind of reveal why that's the case, like, okay, no, I kind of get it. They do kind of stop it. They kind of do the cliffhanger thing with his story arc, but I'm really curious to see what they do from there. Also,
Right.
I like what they did with the Deep as well. Like, at first you kind of laugh at him, like, oh, he's like, he's the Aquaman. You're not supposed to take him seriously. He go around telling people, yeah, I talk to fish, right? Haha, right? And what else does he do? What else does he do apart from talking to fish, right? They make the big Aquaman joke, but
Right.
what happens with him, and then the consequences of that really made for a great character with him. Although, like, I would admit, I wish that there was a little bit more that happened in the finale, in the season finale with him. It just kind of stops with him now.
Yeah, he doesn't tie into the main narrative so well. So
Right.
because it's just more the trade-off of this is what happened to him, and the consequences of that. That's it.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
a lot of it is a lot of poetic justice stuff.
It is.
Yeah, it's like okay, this thing that he did want to do, and then he ended up messing up himself in that way. So
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that for what it was. It's fine.
Right. And Black Noah. Where to see more on Black Noah?
Right, we
like
didn't
I
get
said,
anything.
I didn't want a backstory. Like, I know they wanted to shroud him in mystery, but he was just there basically.
Yeah.
I just wish
Yeah,
that they
that's
give him
what-
more to do.
Yeah, he only had a couple of fights to serve purpose. He's kind of like a mix between. Well, he's kind of the Batman character, as I say, the Snake Eyes kind of thing. But there's a character in Watchmen, or shit, I forget his character name, but he's like it had a character in Watchmen who was like an outright racist, and he's like a clan member with a noose over his head. That dude, I forget the character name in Watchmen.
Oh, right. He was one of the original Watchmen.
original
I think it was the Minutemen, or whatever they call him. Right. I remember who you talk about, but I forgot his name,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, he is. But at least that character talked to him. Black Noah ain't seen nothing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the other boys go, I really enjoyed Laz Alonso, who played Mother's Milk. Not just because he was a black dude, you know what I mean, but he did bring a sense of humor. He was kind of like the straight man, kind of kind of bringing some logic into what was going on, because like for somebody like Billy who out for revenge, you know what I mean, it's like he would just kind of bring them down to earth and be like, yo, y'all need to do this in a proper way. This is how you do it, right? Frenchie took a while for me to get into, and that's just because he's just the French guy, and you just kind of make fun of him because of his accent. But he serves his purpose as well too, and they have a little thing involving him and the Gale as well, the Asian Gale. I thought that, well, they give her enough to do, and they didn't really develop her character that much, but they still give her little hints, you know what I mean, like what really happened to her, like what is her backstory. So I appreciate that. Not too much, but not too little either, right? What else I could talk about? The music choices I thought were great. A lot of like rock and pop rock choices, which kind of fits the tone of the show, by the way. It reminds me a lot like I don't know if you remember a movie called The Losers, which was based off the comic book.
It's pretty much that. There's a lot of that in this. That
kind of the outcast guys going up against the man, you know what I mean? So you always have like the rock music stuff playing, so they do that, right? And you even have like these sort of like these schemes, like sort of like an Ocean's 11 kind of vibe going on, and they also have like these music cuts playing. So I thought it was cool. Cinematography, great, you know what I mean? Direction's great. The writing is solid throughout though. I love these little calls. Sorry?
Yeah, the budget isn't the biggest, but they use it well.
Yes, yes, yeah, they did. And I'm glad that they didn't do too much of it, although I find they do a lot of it
Yeah.
in the first episode. Product placement boy. And when I was watching it, I was like,
Okay.
this is like this is just Amazon just showing off like, oh look at all these products that we sell it here. Look at all these brands. Like if you go on Amazon right now, you can buy all these things. But that was really the first episode. I didn't really notice it that much with the others, so I let that slide. But yeah, I mean, it's not the biggest. It doesn't have the biggest budget, and I do like how economical it was in terms of not using too much VFX, not showing, not having the characters do too much, special effects related stuff now. And they use it really so well, sporadically, I would say, that it kind of just grounds it into reality too, which I felt added a lot to this show because, yeah, if everything was over the top and, Warner Brothers, DC level, then yeah, we would have lost the point of the show a long time. And imagine the source material is not like that at all anyway, right? But
Right.
like I say, this stuff like this isn't new. It's been done for years. Watchmen being a big example, Kick-Ass, so on and so forth. But this one really did it in this sort of, well, in our time, in a modern take. Even though, yeah, you could tell it does touch on, late 2000s politics and whatnot. The Bush era, the war era, all that kind of stuff. But it didn't really make this series here feel dated, right? Even the
Yeah.
stuff with the terrorists and all that kind of stuff. They don't spend too much time on it, so it doesn't like feel like, oh, we're going back to 9/11. You know what I mean? It just kind of feels like it could happen in our time, but just in this
Yeah.
universe. So yeah, I really really enjoy this. Not as much as I expected to, because once again, people just hype this thing up so much. I think that was just off the first episode, like, oh my god, superheroes being evil, you know what I mean? But once you delve in deeper, you really get just a rich story. You know what I mean? There's a lot of detail, a lot of great character development. I think that's the biggest strength of the show here. Um, but it's just the shift in genres kind of threw me off a bit, though. And like I said, I know some people will be kind of let down by that. Some people will go in for sleaze and then you'll get like drama.
Right.
Some people will go in for drama and you'll get goriness. You know what I mean? You'll get just like this mismatch of stuff. But to me, I think that it just fits with this show here. It's trying to be its own thing. It's not trying to be Doom Patrol or God forbid, HBO's Watchmen series. It's trying to be its
Right.
own thing. I could help but think about, oh well, I wonder how Watchmen is gonna, touch on that same similar thing. You know what I mean? The dark side of the
Yeah.
superhero, figure basically, right? But I know that show is gonna do its own thing. But it's its own thing. I like how it tries to be unique and special, even though
Right.
yes, it's stuff that we've seen before. But yeah, this was a solid season. I enjoyed it throughout. Um, I really can't wait to see what they do next with the boys. So for me, I'm gonna give this a decent 4 to 5, man. This is definitely worth checking out. But I would say, just as a word of caution, just go in with the expectations low. This is not kick ass. This is not gonna be, some show with just over the top action scenes. This has a lot of story. This have a lot of depth. But ever so often you'll throw a low brow humor at you and whatnot. Just throw you off balance. But it really has a lot to say, just about modern, just not just
Yeah.
about social media, but just about celebrity. That's about that. But it just has way more to talk about along with that as well. So
Yeah.
not much more I can say about that. Decent 4 to 5. It's not gonna be for everyone. I'll tell you that one time. Not sure that everybody will like, but I would say if you're curious, if you're brave, go in and I bet you're gonna appreciate the boys in some way, shape, or form. So
Yeah.
what's your final thoughts and rating on season
Yeah.
one?
Yeah. Yeah. This was next to flawless for me in general. I couldn't think of any major issues or problems I had. Even Doom Patrol still had some issues coming down to the end that I didn't really care for. This was such a tight story. I can't be mad at this. Yeah, I'd give this like a 9.5 out of 10, close to a 10. I can't think of anything that had any major issues with it. It held my attention the entire time. I had fun with it the entire time. I was actually engaged going forward. I didn't expect that. I wasn't bored at any time. I can't really see that. Yeah, overall, I dug the hell out of this.